Welcome everyone. Today we have a very special video to look at 3 of the top action RPGs at the moment with Diablo 4, Last Epoch, and also Path of Exile. If you look behind me, I have all 3 of those games opened and we'll be going through some of the parts of the game, including the massive skill trees comparison and also different class customizations and also different passives, talents with different of the game. And I have made some adjustments and also I have made the Excel for you guys for a better comparison, including the price, the release date, my own understanding and also perspective of different parts of the game, including complexity, variation, itemizations, beginner friendly, the detailed crafting system, and also endgame content, and also everything related to the action RPG. Now before I start, just a little bit background of my hours spent into each of the games. I have spent over 1,000, close to 1,500 hours since the beta and also launch of Diablo 4. And if you have a look at my time in Path of Exile, I played it a few years ago and I have close to 600 hours. And I have spent about 20 hours in Last Epoch. So it is a little low on Last Epoch because I just started the game, but I do see a very good similarity and a good comparison for those 3 games. Now right away, you can see the price difference for those 3 games. Diablo 4 at the standard edition will cost $70 USD, while Last Epoch is half price compared to Diablo, $35 USD, while Path of Exile is actually free. So on hindsight, you might think, hey, like Path of Exile is definitely the best game, right? It's a free game. Yes, this is a highlight for Path of Exile, but if you do come over to Path of Exile, and yes, this is a crazy tree, right? So if you didn't know about Path of Exile, it is a free-to-play game, but you can buy quality of life and also like improvements. So here the currencies, the stashes, you can buy different stash tabs, and each of the tab will cost about $3 USD. I think I bought 10 of those, and I also bought quality of life, I also bought different tabs, and also I even bought shop tabs, which allows me to buy and also sell items to players online through a website. So all in all, Path of Exile probably took me maybe $40, even $50 and even more because I was buying in-game content, and that's before I even bought any of the cosmetics. So even though this might say $0, but in reality it is around 30 to 60 for me at this moment. Now all 3 of those action RPG games have the element that they're not pay to win, so keep that in mind. Even though you can get some stash tabs, Path of Exile can be played for free. And similar to Last Epoch, this game also have a system of cosmetics. Oh, this also got a letter too. So here you can see the cosmetics for Last Epoch. Those are pretty cool as well. Now for all 3 of the games, Diablo 4 was released last year, 2023, while Last Epoch came into full early access in 2019. Path of Exile is a little older than that, 2013. But for me personally, I do believe, and most players do believe, Path of Exile gets better with each of the seasons with new content. Now, in terms of graphics for each of the games, let me briefly show you guys the graphics. So for Path of Exile, I usually have the setting not on the top setting, and you can see that I'm not having any cosmetics. Oh, I had a friend messaging me. So, and over here, this is the graphics of Last Epoch. Similarly, I have the setting to very minimum setting. So this is not a high quality setting, just to show you guys. This is actually a medium setting, and I could go ultra high. And I have heard Last Epoch will getting a massive improvement in terms of graphics upon release, which is within 2 weeks. Diablo 4 does have the best graphics, and again, just to show you guys, my settings for the actual game is not very high, it's on medium, right? So in order to run the game smoothly while recording, I usually make the setting a little lower. Now that we had a look at some of the basics of those 3 games, let's have a look into something that's more detailed. So this is including class complexity, builds, and also different skill trees, different talents, and also itemization. So let's have a look at the reviews I had. I had Path of Exile on fairly high ranking because it is definitely more complex. So in terms of the customizations, in terms of the skills, because any class can be anything, you can start as a sorcerer and then you can go forward into other parts. I was talking to this friend, right? So you can go other parts, you can perk all the way to another point, and it is very complex and very detailed. Even things that buffs the area, it just gets a little overwhelmingly good. Now, Last Epoch does have some really nice system as well, in terms that you can customize each of the skills that you like to level this up to make it even stronger. And you also have your own passives, talents, and also combinations. Diablo is not bad as well with its Paragon board, but I do feel like it's a little fixed and it's a little bit like less variation in that sense. Now, on the topic of class variation, Diablo currently have 5 classes. Last Epoch does have 5 classes, but this expand into 2 additional or 3 additional masteries. So as a Necromancer, I'm currently going with, this is the wrong game. So as a Necromancer for Last Epoch, I'm currently going with into a Necromancer from Acolyte. I can also go into Lich, and upon release is also a class for Warlock. And because the game actually wants you, once you go into a class specialization, you'll have a special class skill. Over here you can see this is a summoning word skill, and different class specialization cannot be changed. So you'll have to make a new character to enjoy a different specialization and also a special ability. Now in terms of itemizations, I do think the rating is pretty consistent. Path of Exile definitely have a lot of complexity, a lot of crafting, a lot of details with the items. But Last Epoch is not bad as well. Even playing for 20 hours, I can see the complexity, the crafting, and also ideas behind it. So, one of our viewers said I can actually press F to craft anywhere, which is great. So crafting is really fun in Last Epoch, and you can have different abilities to remove affixes, to add affixes, to change affixes, to extract affixes, and also to add special effects, which allows you for a lot more customization, which is really fun to do and feels really rewarding when I get lucky and when I get things right. Now I know I said a lot of good things about Path of Exile, and you might be wondering, hey, how come, man? How come you're not playing Path of Exile now? Yes, even though I have about 500 hours in Path of Exile, one of the reasons I haven't started playing Path of Exile again is that it is not as beginner friendly, and it is also very time consuming. I was diving into the game, and before I knew it, 2 weeks gone past. My friends, my family don't know what happened to me. So the game is great, but it is so unique and also so special in terms of the game that you don't have gold. Your currencies are in terms of your items that is traded with players, and the currencies are used for actual items that can be spent onto crafting. And this gets more complex as you go deeper into the game, and for most new players, even myself, after 500 hours into the game, I'm barely scratching the tip of the iceberg, and this means I only know about 30-40% of the game. There's a majority of the game I'm still very new and still unsure with crafting and with many things. And this degree of complexity can be quite intimidating for new players. So the positives of the game will actually become its drawback because it's so complex and there's so much to learn. You're like, it's as if you're taking a university degree, right? In terms of Last Epoch, I do feel like it is much easier. Things are given and things are explained in much better ways, and things are, I guess, given in more explanations, and there's more room for error. And personally, after playing the game, I was really happy with it because it brings what's good from Path of Exile and what's good from Diablo into one game that's together. And this is actually a great approach. Now, one of the highlights for me with Last Epoch and also Path of Exile is the complexity of the crafting system. Yes, I have spent thousands of hours on Diablo, but you can't craft unique items. And also the crafting system is quite narrow in terms of you already know what's the best in slot, and you're only limited to certain amount of item slots. And most people in the meta will play a particular set, gaining additional armor or gaining mobility. And you see 99% of the players will use this combination, and this feels a little less of customization. So in that sense, I have given Diablo 4 a little lower ranking in terms of crafting. As for Last Epoch, things get a little better, and you can even craft unique items into legendaries with additional bonus effect, which I haven't unlocked yet. But upon having a look at that system, I was really amazed. So you can add stats from your rare items and also purple items, the exalted item, onto your unique items to give this one even more stats. And this allows you to customize your unique items, and that was a really good system. Now the crafting is amazing with Path of Exile, but it's so complex that I'm scared to use my currencies. Most of the time when I was playing the game, I was buying items from other players who crafted items, while for me myself, I feel like it's a waste to try to use my currencies, because if I get it wrong, I'm wasting it, right? So if I'm buying off players, I'm not getting that much enjoyment. Again, the degree of difficulty is what's holding me back with Path of Exile. But I've heard Path of Exile 2 will be coming, mid of this year with closed beta. I'm quite excited because I heard they tuned down the difficulty and they kept everything that's great about the game. Now, briefly going through the comparison of the story, the content, and everything related to the three games. For me, the story for Diablo 4 was quite good. Because of Lilith and because of the whole concept, it was not bad. And I do give in to the Diablo 4 cinematics and also voice acting. Last Epoch and also Path of Exile also have voice acting. But Blizzard, they should be making movies, right? They're great with their cinematic, they're great with their story. Just like World of Warcraft and also Diablo 4, I still think the story for Diablo 4 is still one of the best. I wasn't too happy when Dr. King died in Diablo 3 though. Now in terms of the content, I am ranking Diablo a little lower, even though this is the game I spend the most hour in, right? Because I love Diablo 3 so much. In terms of the content, the game is quite narrow to the point we're just farming uber uniques. I had friends who farmed 9,000 runs of Doriel last season, and he didn't get all the uber uniques. I'm still missing one, and it's to the point it's painful. I don't want to keep killing Doriel thousands and thousands of times just for one item. And there's nothing else I want to do. Because I have pretty much everything I wanted, most of my gears are relatively okay, to the point I don't want to be farming anything. Anything I get in the game is not that rewarding. I'm max level to level 100, and my glyphs are, level 21 or level 16 enough for me to play the game. To the point there's nothing left for me to do in the game except trying different builds. Now in comparison, Last Epoch and also Path of Exile will take you deeper and also further into the game to additional min and max. You can be rolling for different item stats, getting better items, crafting this one onto another item, rerolling different stats, and also making things even stronger, which was what I was really enjoying even within 20-30 hours into the game. Now over here, you can see some additional comparisons of my personal understanding of the game. And one thing I do want to highlight, I don't want to make the video too long, but one thing with Diablo 4 is that it is so painful, guys. I play a nightmare dungeon, and before I know it, I'm full of rare items and more items. And it takes so long, like, it doesn't take that long, but one round for nightmare dungeon is 2 minutes for me. And one round after nightmare dungeon takes me the same or double amount of time to sell and also check every item. So we need a loot filter for Diablo 4. We need it badly. Now there are multiple loot filters for Path of Exile. Usually I will download one from someone else and someone else have crafted it, and it is very good. But what's even better is, in Last Epoch, not only you can copy other people's loot filter, you can make your own loot filter. Now, if I come over to settings, I want to show you guys is, I was amazed by the loot filter. So coming over to loot filters, you can see that I can go with not loot filter. I can go with my level 50 loot filter, which I get majority of the item. I can go target farming with my level 70 plus loot filter. I can find different items, different stats. It gets so detailed, I can select the type of item I want, the subtype of item I want, the stats I want to see on the item, and the moment the item drops, I will see it, and it will be highlighting to me. So I'll show you guys an example. See, I drop it, it's red. I drop this one, it doesn't show. Okay, I need the item back. So this item I already have. So this complexity and also loot filtering system, it's incredibly good, to the point that, items will be shown, will be highlighted, and this saves so much time. I'm bypassing 90-80% of the loot, and this allows me to find things I really wanted. And yes guys, if I go deeper into the game, I'll make a guide for the loot filter and you'll love it. If you're coming from Diablo 4, oh boy, it is like, it's night and day over there for the comparison. And here I'm just looting everything. One job I loot, another job I loot. I don't even know I'm looting them. And yes, so yeah, loot filter is lovely. And I only scratch the tip of the iceberg. You can go even deeper and deeper. And when players share a build with you, they will share you their loot filter. So what that means is they can share the loot filter for you, and you can add the loot filter for yourself to start farming for those items for that particular build. And that's amazing, right? So yeah, really excited to go deeper with this system, and that's why I want to spend some time on this. Now before I finish, there will be comparisons with endgame, trading, hardcore modes, and also PvP. I try to not go too deep into those systems, but one thing I do want to highlight, one of the highlights for last epoch is the item and also trade customization. I haven't went too deep into that, but they are allowing players to trade or benefit from not trading. So what that means is, players can either play by themselves and also gain increased loot jobs and also benefits, or players can gain access to trading with variety of functions. So this allows players who love trading and players who just want to play by themselves to really have their own advantage and also loving the game in their own way. I think I should give this one to 9 just because of the specialization. So in that sense, yeah, last epoch is definitely something I'm quite interested in now, and after making this video, I'm even more interested to make more guides, like beginner's guide and also preparation guide for the release of the game that is coming in 2 weeks. Now, hopefully you guys found this comparison video helpful. I have ranked those games in terms of average scores and also balancing, and I have to say, I think in terms of Path of Exile, it can get quite difficult, but if you go through the difficulty, it is the most rewarding game. But if you want something that's challenging but not too difficult, Last Epoch is great. Now if you like big games like AAA games, Diablo 4, I'm still waiting for the new Garnet, I'm still waiting for leaderboard and also new classes to be coming to Diablo 4. So let me know in the comments guys, what do you think about those games, and which games would you want to play this year? And also, are you gonna play Path of Exile 2? Yes, that's gonna be the big one for this year.